Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Peyton. You can call me PK, and I react to music. Good morning. It's early. Well, early-ish. Early compared to I got done recording my last video 6 hours ago. And in that I slept for 4, woke up, took a shower, was like, let's get going. I don't have much else to do today, so I think I just need to get some content recorded and ready so we can have some stuff ready for the week because I got a busy week again. So we're taking today to record some shit. Just like right now, we're here to record. We're checking out Okay Not Okay. So I'm seeing that it was kind of a remaster of the album plus songs, I'm assuming, just that they recorded around that time. It shows a lot of these are remastered, so maybe they made them at the time and they re-recorded them in 2017. I don't really know. I don't know the whole lore on the album. What I do know is I'll probably listen to the remastered tracks on my own time. If there's much different, if it sounds any better, any different, then again, I'll listen to them on my own time. But we're going to react to all of the disc 2 tracks on it. So, I'll be honest with you, we're a little sleepy this morning. Trying to wake up, trying to get this bread, early worm gets the bird, or something like that. I don't know. Plus, we started a new diet today. But we're gonna get a little not skinny. We're not gonna get skinny. We're just gonna be less fluffy. That's the plan. The plan is just less fluffy. Like I'll pretty much look the same most likely, but just like not as much stomach fat. I think. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Yeah. Anyways, we'll get into this. So track number 1 of this 2, I Promise. Bringing up the acoustic. I always love it when he brings up the acoustic. It's all kind of marchy with the snare and like that. I mean, it's just pretty obvious. It feels like, kind of just longing for somebody, won't run away anymore. I won't, even when I get bored, I won't run. Even when you lock me out, I won't run. I'll say my prayers every night to make sure hope that you stay, or hope those things don't happen either. So you're just saying you won't run. Do we want to do it? Want to do it? Well, let's do it. Let's do it. You can tie this into depression. Now, here's the difference between the original recording of OK Computer and these bonus tracks, stuff like that. And maybe this was recorded back then. I don't really know. This could have been I don't know. It shows on Apple Music that it's not remastered, so maybe not. It could be tied into kind of depression in his own mind, telling himself that he won't run away from his own problems anymore, and that even when he gets bored, because sometimes when you get bored and you don't have anything happening and nothing occupying your mind, things start to creep in. So even when he gets bored, he's not going to run away. Even when you lock me out, even when he feels like kind of dissociated from his body, he's not going to run from it. He's not going to run from the issues. And he says his prayers every night, hoping that things get better. And he says, "I promise," and in a way, the "I promise" could be a little, what is the word I'm looking for? Facetious. The "I promise" could be a little facetious, saying that I say my prayers every night, I promise. Kind of trying to convince somebody to believe him, even if it's not true. And it's probably not him saying that, but it could be. It could be. That's the premise of what I do here. We live off the belief of it could be. It really just seems like he's just talking about how he won't run away. Even when all this shit goes down, I'm not leaving. I'm still here. Good song. I like the instrumentation. It's a little. The instrumentation feels a little drawn out. To be honest with you, with just the. I mean, it's the same snare the whole time. It's a real marchy kind of snare. The way it's just the way it is. Um, and then the acoustic, which, it's not bad. I'm not gonna complain about it too much. I mean, it's probably not really, to me, on 100% on par with like normal Radiohead instrumentation. Only thing is the strings come in and they kind of save it a little bit for me. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just it's a little more drawn out than I'm used to when it comes to Radiohead, but it's okay. It's a good song though. I mean, it's basically just him longing for somebody and telling them that, no matter what happens, I'm not running anymore. So if the ship wrecks, time of the day, you know, I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. Just when all this shit happens. So if any of this shit goes down, I'm still gonna be here, no matter what. So yeah, it's a good song. Good song. I guess one way you could really put it is I don't know when they got married, but I know he has a wife, and maybe it has to do with her. That's kind of what it is, because I don't know when that. Let me look it up real quick. So they got married in 2020, his current wife, but he was in a relationship up until 2016, or he was married up until 2016. So maybe this was like him longing for her. Maybe it was him kind of longing for his ex-wife. I guess it would make sense. It would make sense because it's not showing that these are remastered. So it's either one of two things: either they were recorded back then and released, which then that theory gets thrown out the window, or there's songs that were like maybe never finished, or maybe they had some like instrumentation that they never used, and he came back and wrote a new song for it. I don't really know. Again, I don't know. I wasn't there. And I'll probably look into it a little bit later, but I could see it being about his ex-wife. If it's not, then it's not. If it's not, then it just kind of is what it's about. We get into track number 2, Man of War. Again, it feels like he's talking about a relationship. Drift all you want, all you'd like, search the whole world. We broke up, so do all you want, go travel the world, you know, do all that stuff. But drunken confessions and hijack affairs. So getting drunk and having conversations, drunk conversations, and hijacking affairs in terms of I'm assuming she's kind of doing that shit. It'll just make you feel more alone, and that makes sense. It makes he's just kind of reminding you like you can go do all these things to try to clear out your head of the relationship, but everything is just gonna always wind back up. It's the same thought process, same train of thought of being alone. So, good song so far. Good song. When you come home, I bake you a cake made of all their eyes. I wish you could see me just for the kill. Seems like he's talking. Seems like he means like, yeah. So I guess baking the cake made of all their eyes. He's kind of talking about how everybody's been watching you. Everybody knows what you're doing. So but you don't understand that. But everybody's been watching, and so now he's saying, I wish you could see me just for the kill. Could also mean all of her partners that she had while they were in a relationship. And talking about that and how they all kind of knew about what was happening, or things of that sort. I mean, it could, like I said, Radiohead's lyrics can kind of go any way possible, and any way you interpret them is probably right. I mean, that's at least the philosophy I use when I listen to music is that any way you can interpret it is right, unless there's a very specific, like, meaning, like, I was gonna hold off for this one, but it really is kind of like my bread and butter. My bread and butter. If you're here for that, if you're here for my title, be happy because I'm doing this. No, I'm just not. Don't be happy. I mean, it's just I wasn't gonna do it this track because I already did it last track, and I don't want people to be mad at me for doing it. But I'm gonna do it anyways. This could also be interpreted mental health wise ways, wise and ways. Drift all you like from ocean to ocean, search the world, but drunken confessions and hijack affairs will make you just feel more alone. It's kind of saying, kind of referring back to the last one. You like I said, you can take kind of both ways. Referring back to the last one, saying I won't run anymore. Now it's saying, you can run away all you want, but as soon as you get into a situation where, loneliness is the outcome, the feeling that you'll get from everything that you just did is loneliness. Whenever you you go hook up with somebody and or have an affair with somebody, they're in a relationship and da da da, it's gonna make you feel more alone when all of it happens, when all of it goes down. When you're drunk, having a conversation, confessing things, it's gonna make you feel more alone. So you can run all you want, you can do all these things, whatever, it doesn't matter because it's always gonna come back to you. And then you can kind of look at verse two, maybe of almost an anxiety standpoint. You come back home, I'll bake you a cake made of all their eyes in the sense of everybody around him, or kind of like even, the fans at the time, all their eyes, and kind of knowing where Tom's at mentally, maybe they might be a little disappointed, like might be a little upset. So maybe that's what or at least he thinks that they are, right? He thinks that they are. Again, can go both ways. It really can. I took one track one way the first time, and then I took another track another way the first time, and turned out both of them were wrong to begin with. But I still found a way to find it. I don't know. At least that's what Genius told me. I was wrong for a little bit, but I don't know. Anyways, we'll get back into it. Why didn't I write here? I like the piano. That's something I said in the shit. Sorry, I'm sorry. Something I said in the Dish 2 of In Rainbow's reaction is a lot of those bonus tracks use a good amount of piano. So far, I mean, this was the only one that has piano, but so far it feels like we have, or might be getting into more piano. I don't know. Oh my god. I was yawning, dude. I'm so tired. Early, man. It's all chill again. Yeah, okay. Okay. Song again. I want to say for every track this one. I went away. I strayed away from my roots last night when I was recording my other one. Just calling everything a good song because it is a good song. If it's a good song, I'm gonna tell you it's a good song. But it's a good song. So unplug the phone, stop all the taps. It all comes flooding back. Pretty straightforward. Pretty straightforward line. I think again that really ties into the again kind of both, but it also kind of it ties into both the same way, where you use your phone to kind of distract you, and more depression wise, it kind of dopamine, serotonin shit, right? Dopamine, serotonin gets released in your brain while you're doing all that stuff, and as soon as you get off of it, it all kind of goes back to regular levels, which is relative to you as a person, and then everything comes flooding back, into your brain. So, yeah, no, it makes sense. Good song. I like the piano. Now we'll get into track number 3, Lift. It's giving me like sounds like Airbag a little bit, with that same kind of feeling. So he's kind of talking to himself in like a second person almost. See, no. I had the wrong song. Sound wise, this sounds like Airbag. This is like the alien's perspective fuck, on Homesick Alien, Subterranean Homesick Alien. It's just like the aliens are coming to pick him up. It's like, this is the place. Sit down. You're safe now. Like, he just got picked up by the aliens. You know, you've been stuck in a lift, and we've been trying to reach you, Tom. It's the aliens talking to him. This is a place that it won't ever hurt again, in the sense of he's not going to be on planet Earth anymore. You know, he can go with the aliens and he'll be chill. You know, and he's talking about the world, the smell of air conditioning. Fish are belly up, they're dead. Empty all your pockets, get rid of everything, because it's time to come home. You don't need any of that shit anymore. It's time to come home. Am I right with this? Please tell me I'm right. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It feels like it makes sense, especially also in context with the fucking album. I mean, it was made back then around the release of the album. It was originally performed in 1996 as part of the sets that included early arrangements of songs at the end of OK Computer. So it was within the writing process of OK Computer. It makes sense to me. It makes sense. It makes sense. I'm like that dude, you know, with the board, with the fucking lines and shit, with the crazy going fucking nuts. Like, this is it, bro. That's how I feel right now. In his dreams, like when he's dreaming about going up there and getting away from Earth. I like how that distorted guitar is just all in the left, just all the way in the left, and then it has like I don't know what it's called. I'm not gonna say it. It's something, some keyboard, some some sound computer, computerized sound in the right. You just got the drums right down the middle. I like how it's kind of split, where it's like the left side is kind of like, it's almost like, if I'm going with that theory of this being like kind of a part two to Homesick Alien. If I'm going with that theory, that could kind of like show and represent like we're leaving Earth. So the left side represents Earth and the corruption and everything like that, with the distortion and everything. While this is kind of like the more alien side, like, hey, we're leaving. Like, I'm so good at this. I'm so good at this. Oh my god. So light it up, square. So to me, like, the outro right there kind of means, again, we're going with the theory. It could be, now they finally landed where they needed to go. And, today's the first day of the rest of your days, now it's time to live the rest of your life. So lighten up a little bit, because you've been, because you're here now, you're happy. You have a chance to be happy now. That's how I took it. I mean, I looked at a couple of the annotations, realized I wasn't right, and I'm gonna keep my peace. I'm protecting my peace. I no, I got it right. Right. I don't care what Genius says. I got it right. I don't know. It makes too much sense to me for it not to be at least somewhat related. Just makes too much sense to me for it not to be somewhat related. That's just how I feel about it. But I don't know. Maybe it's not. So now we're getting into the remastered tracks, which track 4 is Lull. I was kind of reading a little bit. Okay, I guess we're just not gonna highlight anything. It's reading a little bit of the summary of the summary. And it says it was released on the Karma Police single. So I guess this has been a track. I mean, I don't really know. It had to have been a track for it to be remastered. So I guess that's where we're at. So, anyways, track 4, Lull, maybe. What a likely time for Apple Music to crash. Just what a likely time. Okay, let's try this one again. Yay! Track 4, Lull. Mm. Glockenspiel?
I just snapped and lost control. Distracted by
Oh, okay. Okay. Not what I expected.
there's nothing more than talking about yourself.
I just realized what he means by I just snapped and lost control. This is kind of, again, this is a part 2 to Karma Police. Dude, it has to be. It has to be. It has to be, dude. It makes too much sense for it not to be. That's the way I see it. It makes too much sense for it not to be. You know, you stop the crowd, because he kept calling out all these people. I cried out to break the spell, which I'll get into that in a second. But the reason I made that connection was and lost control. I just snapped and lost control. That's where that came. That's where it came from for me. It's because, at the end of the song, the final, I guess, verse, outro, whatever you want to call it, you keep saying that he lost himself. Sorry, I lost myself for a minute. And so now he's saying he lost control and he snapped. You just snapped and lost control. And that he's in a lull. And that's why it happened. Okay, what I was gonna say about I cried out to break the spell. Sometimes people have to do things like what he did in Karma Police, where you kind of just go a little nuts, and it's kind of almost a mental breakdown. And but that way, when you do that, it helps a little bit. Break the spell, break the kind of like the analogy I use is depression can be like a roller coaster, right? You'll have like maybe a good 2 or 3 weeks, and then you'll have a bad 1 or 2 weeks, and then kind of keeps going in that roller coaster. At least that's kind of how it's been, um, personally. Saying that he cried out to break the spell, it's kind of like he almost forced, not forced, but he was kind of going through shit at that time, and he had a mental breakdown, so he cried out in public and started calling out all these people, freaking out. But it broke the spell of his downswing. It's kind of how I took that, because like in Karma Police, it's supposed to be satirical, right? I mean, that's kind of the whole point of it. But at the same time, if you take it kind of in context of the album, it's kind of him more so, kind of struggling with himself to keep thoughts and stuff under control. Self-destruction's a big theme in depression as well, where you kind of feel, I talked about this before too, but you kind of feel as if you need to have something go wrong or horribly wrong to get you to go through like a mental breakdown, a panic attack, things of that sort, so you can have the after effects of them and get back on your feet using that, which is it's a real thing, because there's different effects that you kind of get just be like naturally, due to some of those things, because that's how the body works.
I'm sorry that I lost control. distracted by irrelevance, stress and
Yeah, it really kind of just feels like a continuation or like a part two of Karma Police. Basically, kind of what I said earlier was kind of my thoughts on it, lyrically of kind of how think that it was supposed to be taken in. I don't know again. Sonically, good. There's not much more to say about it. It was really good. I like it. I want to see what it says. Xylophone. Okay. No, good song. Good song. Actually, I'm gonna read some of this about Radiohead's first ever instrumental, programmed entirely using synthesizers. That's pretty cool. Meeting the Isle made its live debut in 2012 on the King of Limbs tour alongside with other B-sides like. Is that on this? I wasn't. I was not expecting to see that or read that today. Alongside other B-sides like The Amazing Sounds of Orgy. Sure. Okay. Track number 5, Meeting in the Aisle. Is this was this in which documentary was it? Meeting people is easy. Is this a part of Meeting people is easy? Because it sounds very familiar. I think it is. Well, this sounds like some shit. Like I can see how this would be like an entrance song. These motherfuckers walking on stage like, uh, imagine. Well, there's a lot of people that can't imagine because they've probably seen it live, but I didn't. It's like something that would be played like video game soundtrack. It sounds like a video game soundtrack. I'm kind of what I was doing during that is I'm actually checking out Setlist FM. If you don't know what that website is, it's basically a website that keeps track of literally every single concert that exists. And it's ran by the users, kind of like Genius and stuff like that, where it's ran by the people that use it, and they input like set lists and stuff like that, and it keeps track of almost every concert that has ever happened. And I was just checking out like their stuff. Of course, they haven't performed since 2018, but it seems like they do like alternating set lists. So that's what it looks like. It's kind of cool. It's a cool concept. That's what it looked like. Looked like they did some sort of like alternating set list type thing where it's like, I mean, not even like in the same city. If they're in the same city for 2 nights, it's not like they just, that's the only time they did it. No, it was like throughout the whole tour. Like they would alternate the set list. That's pretty cool. I mean, I don't know if that was actually what happened, but that's what the people reported. So, okay, track number 6, Melatonin. Melatonin was released in 1997 on the Paranoid Android single. It can also be found in the collector's edition, which is what we're listening to technically right now, I'm pretty sure. Melatonin is a hormone that regulates your sleep and wake cycles, if you didn't know that. Get into track number 6, Melatonin. The synths, dude. It's a little short, sweet song. Short and sweet. Yeah, so what I was saying is the song's a little sad because it feels like he's talking to his child. You know, in the about thing, the summary of the song, it kind of explained how the song was really more of like a lullaby. Yeah, I get it. So it's kind of him just talking to his son that, telling him like, don't forget that you're our son. We love you, and that you'll do well. You won't come to harm. So you won't do anything bad in this world, and that to everybody that stands in your way. Fend off everybody that might come into your way. So we'll get into track number 7, A Reminder. A Reminder was released in 1997 as part of Paranoid Android single and included in Airbag How Am I Driving EP. It also appears on the collector's edition. Okay, people, just what we're on right now. I mean, just as the track title insinuates, is kind of just a reminder to himself when he gets older. I'm. This is just personal, stuff. I'm looking at this from the perspective of dementia, from just personal stuff that happened. This made me really sad. I'm just gonna be honest with you. It did. Feels like he wrote this song to say that in case I do ever develop some sort of dementia, Alzheimer's, whatever, and if I ever start to do the bullshit that, or it's, if I ever start to do the stuff that kind of happens when you develop dementia, then just kill me. Get me gone. Get me gone. It just kind of That's kind of how I looked. Those are the lenses that I looked through. You might just look at through getting old. That's kind of how I saw it. The annotations were saying that this was a announcement from a train station in Prague. Basically, the way I took that is, if everything's kind of serving as a reminder, that's kind of serving it as, kind of reminding them how they used to do all these things, and they probably played shows in Prague, and so kind of showing like, remind me that we did all this stuff, we traveled the world and all that, and you would probably recognize, those sounds of the train station and everything of that sort. I mean, yeah, it's kind of sad. It is pretty sad, actually. So we'll get into track number 8, Polyethylene Parts 1 and 2. Polyethylene Parts 1 and 2 was released in 1997 as track 2 of the Paranoid Android single. It also be found in the collector's edition. Most common plastic. Yeah, I don't know what that has to do with anything other than it being the name. Anyways, track number 8, Polyethylene Parts 1 and 2. Okay. I'm sorry, that's just funny to me. It's funny because it reminded me of the From the Basement video when what song? It was right before Bangers plus Mash. And I guess they were testing out a microphone or something. Yeah, Tom's funny, dude. Tom's funny as shit.
Just for you. It's your clothes and settle. I don't know where
Oh my god. What the fuck? Okay, that was the last thing I was expecting on this. Jesus Christ. That's crazy. Just talking about someone leaving, it feels like. Really? I mean, it's really just what it feels like. It feels like, you know? No, I was not expecting that at all. I was not expecting that at all. Um, not gonna go playing though.
Looking your schizophrenia, polyethylene. There's no significance to plastic bag, middle class, polyethylene. Decaffeinated, let it keep our surfaces
Oh, I missed the fucking. Fuck. It's a time signature, dude. It's fucking with me. I mean, in today's world, microplastics are like the biggest focus to ever exist. But I mean, really, other than that, I can't really figure out what some of this. I mean, leukemia, schizophrenia, polyethylene. I'm assuming he's just saying that there's no significant risk for your health, but that's kind of like saying that's what the government or somebody says. I don't really know. But he's also kind of saying it's like, it could cause, leukemia, schizophrenia to develop. She used to be beautiful, but now she has lumps and swells, which is cancer, tumors, and shit. I'm assuming that's just kind of him saying it's what plastic can cause, polyethylene and stuff like that can cause. But other than that, if it's not that, then I really, I'm trying to understand what we're talking about. I don't really know. I don't know. I'm kind of trying to figure it out a little bit. Kind of trying to figure it out a little bit. I think it has something to do with the environment, plastics, and your health, like how that all kind of ties into each other. But I really don't know. Again, we try our hardest around here. We don't go too far. We like to have fun. So, but if I can't figure something out, let me know, and we'll get it sorted from that point. Okay, now we'll get into track number 9, Pearly. Okay. I'm liking this already. I'm liking this already. Vocals to the left. God. I was literally just talking about this last night about the kind of the Coldplay sound almost, and someone that just actually, yeah, let me pause real quick. Someone had just commented saying that OK Computer kind of changed a lot of shit, the kind of the music landscape, and I've heard that kind of a lot, but he said really it kind of influenced bands like Coldplay, to make the music that they made, especially in the early days, and I'm really hearing it here. This is like I like if I were to, like I said, if you threw this ending part right here into a Coldplay song, I wouldn't bat an eye. Wouldn't bat an eye. And to me, I'm sorry, but I'll always say that like it's Coldplay, it's Coldplay. It sounds like Coldplay because Coldplay is what I listened to beforehand. Like I've been a Coldplay fan for a very long time, so it's gonna be always something. I'm always if it reminds me of it, I'm always gonna say it like that because that's just kind of where kind of where I come from when it comes to that kind of stuff, musical background. Man, you can really hear it here. You can really hear how like Coldplay got influenced here. This really sounds like something that would have been on a Rush of Blood to the Head. And maybe this is where they pull inspiration from. When creating that album, when they were creating Rush of Blood to the Head, maybe this is where they pull a lot of inspiration from. This album in itself. I mean, okay. Actually, no, this didn't really back then. Maybe even Parachutes too. The instrumental on that track. Oh my god. That's the shit. That's the shit. That's what I do this shit for, man. Nah, it's just so good. It's so good. It's so good. It seems like it was really just talking about some whitewashed girl that he kind of wants, but kind of has a little bit of disdain, a little bit, but at the same time he kind of doesn't. Or maybe it's just kind of a story about a kind of a whitewashed kind of girl. I don't know. I don't know. This one seems pretty straightforward. I'm not gonna look too far into it because I feel like there's no reason to. Okay, we'll get into track number 10, Palo Alto. Palo Alto, California is the home of Stanford University and the major center of the Silicon Valley. Radiohead performed in the city. They toured the offices of several prominent technology companies. Original title of the song was OK Computer, meaning the song continues with the prominent techno paranoia, personal detachment, anti-corporate themes, and then eponymous, what the hippopotamus,
Eponymous.
applying to the was regarded the world's most foremost innovation hub, Silicon Valley, captures the prominent theme of alienation in English and skills. Palo Alto was released in 1997 on the No Surprises single. It can also be found on the Airbag How Am I Driving EP, Collector's Edition, OK Computer, and Disc 2 of 20th Anniversary Edition, OK Not OK. So this is going to be more centralized around technology and the disdain for it because fuck technology, man. Fuck technology, man. Fuck technology, man. I'm lying. I like technology. Okay, we'll get into track number 10, Palo Alto.
In a city of the future, it is difficult to concentrate.
I do have to I have to put on my 1997, 1996 goggles right now because I have to realize that this isn't now. Because a city of the future now is a lot different than the city of the future back then. So I have to kind of put on the goggles.
The boss, meet the wife, everybody's happy, everyone is made for life.
Okay.
I'm too busy to see you, you're too busy to wait. But I'm okay, how are you? Thanks for asking, thanks for asking. I'm okay, how are you?
I love how loud it is. I just love how fucking loud it is. Yeah, no, just like I said, it's just kind of about the technological, 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 holy shit, technological kind of revolution back then. You know, the birth of Silicon Valley, and basically it's just kind of the life within a city like that, where no one really has time to wait around for you. You don't really have time to do anything with anybody. It's difficult to concentrate, but you get to meet the boss and meet the wife. All this stuff where it's just kind of like it kind of just seems like he's talking about how life used to be like somewhat beautiful for him until all this stuff started happening, everything started changing, and now, people are asking him like, "Hey, yeah, no, I'm okay. How are you? Thanks for asking me." Just kind of like the little, just kind of the lie. People always ask him, "How are you?" And like, "Oh, I'm good." No matter how you feel, you always say, "Oh, I'm good." So I feel like that's kind of what it is. But they should have kept this as a title track, man. It works. It makes sense. This seems like a good intro. I'm not saying Airbag's a bad intro, but it would have been like if you placed it right after Airbag, this would be really good. Maybe. I'm not, I mean, there's a reason why they're the ones that made this and I'm not. So, but anyways, great song, great song, great song. Okay, we'll get into the last one. Track 11, How I Made My Millions. I Made My Millions was released in 1998 on the No Surprises single, Can Also Be Found. The song provides a unique insight to the band's songwriting process. The band decided to release it as is. Oh, that's pretty cool. To simply release it, so working on songs for years and simply release it without further effort. So it's basically like, they tried so long to make all these different versions of this one song, and they always came back. I think I read that on one of the Kid A songs. So like it was one of those, one of those songs where they tried, they make the first rendition of it, and then they tried like a bunch of times to try to make it different, in a way. And every single time they tried to do that, it always just turned out to be a cover of the same song. We'll get out into track 11, How I Made My Millions. So I guess the title is kind of in reference to like if sorry. Okay. So sorry. If the title's kind of in reference to, well, if the song itself is kind of like seeing into the writing process that they had used at the time, then I could see the title being like, this is how I made my millions, in the sense of this is my writing process. And this is the band's writing process. And so if that's the case, that's really cool. Actually, I really, that's actually really cool. It's really creative.
Let you
Mm. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I don't know if the lyrics are really supposed to mean anything. They kind of said that in the description. I don't know if it's just kind of like, at the time, maybe it was like just kind of placeholder lyrics. I don't know if they were actually written, for it. Maybe they were, maybe they weren't. I don't really know. Again, I'm not there with them. It's beautiful. It's cool. It's cool whenever artists kind of do that too. When they kind of throw a track that's kind of just completely unedited in there. Good example of that is that album right there, Freudian, with Daniel Caesar. On the track, yeah, on the track Loose, at the end, he kind of has this snippet recording that I guess he did on a phone or something of him playing the piano and singing We Find Love, which I'm assuming was kind of like a demo. It's kind of almost probably the same thing as this, where he kind of came up with something, wanted to record it to keep it in mind, and kind of send it to his musical director to kind of see what they say. And then next you know, the next song is We Find Love. But it's kind of it's cool when artists kind of do that. Now having a full song of it is completely different, and I love it too. You know, it makes it even better because a lot of times those snippets sound really good. And so I agree with the band. This was kind of perfect the way it was. It sounds like if it was finished out, like if they actually did a full thing with it, it probably would have been the outro track. It probably would have been the last track on the album because it kind of gives, you know, it's just it just gives the vibes, you know, it gives the vibes. But yeah, no, it was good. You know, I enjoyed checking out okay, not okay, the bonus tracks, the disc 2 tracks, some of them being tracks that already had been that had never been released, some tracks that were already released and remastered, um or I haven't heard them either way, so you know, this is the first time for all of it. So good. It was good. It was a good bonus. I liked it. I liked it a lot actually. There was a lot of these songs I really enjoyed. If you would like to check out the full unedited version of this reaction, you can check me out on Patreon. And if you would like to support a college student in doing what he needs to do, you could check out the Etsy shop and the Redbubble in the description. You don't have to buy anything. If you want to just click the link and look at it, you can. If you don't, then it's completely okay. But other than that, as always, stay safe, stay alive. I love you. Bye.